Hello everybody, my name is Lucy and welcome to Books and Brushes. So today, yes, my hair has just been washed and it's still wet. I didn't do a video last week, sorry about that. I went on holiday and before I went on holiday I did 8 solid days of working. So yeah, really didn't get time to film, let alone edit. Sorry about missing last week and thank you to the people who said you missed me and we're looking forward to it. Sorry I missed it. But this week we're getting back on track. If you haven't watched my May/Asian Readathon TBR, that's going to be extremely useful in explaining why I picked these books and what these books are about. Most of you will probably have seen that one already, and if you haven't, I recommend watching that first because I'm not going to bother doing synopses in this video. So let's just get straight on in with Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. This one I listened to as an audiobook and I enjoyed it. I had a fun time while reading it. It was an enjoyable listen. However, I also had a fair few issues with it that I couldn't quite get over to find it a good book. So a lot of ups and downs. Let's start off with the positives because there are some and I don't want to completely bury the book. The positives is it was a fun, casual, very easy contemporary read. It was very smooth, very easy to listen to, and that's always good in a book. It's always nice to fly through a book and it not be a difficult time. I also really like the political element, especially in YA. You don't really see politics play any part in YA, and I understand why, you know, never talk religion and politics, but it was really interesting to see that, and I really hope that that can come through more in literature because although it's a very personal, very controversial subject a lot of the time, it's also very important, and it was fun to see these young people be so interested in their local politics and rights and all of that. So that was a really good element of the book. I also really liked that the two characters were from different religions. This was one of the main reasons that I was most excited to read this book, because we have a main character who's a Jew and we have a main character who is a Muslim, and about these two contemporary romance. So I thought that would be really interesting to see these two young people with these completely different religions and how they live their lives and how they are as people, romance, and how that could work. It's not quite what I got. A lot of the reason of me liking and enjoying this book, not only for the easy writing style, but also it was quite a young, modern contemporary, and it had a lot of great representation in it. So we have Pakistani, Asian, Muslim, we have the Jewish side of things, we have gay characters. The book did feel very left in its views, especially since we are talking about politics, and I identify a lot with those views and with the leftist ideals, shall we say. So I did like that, and the talks on discrimination and rights and how politics comes into that. These characters felt natural and welcome in the story, and they didn't feel shoved in, so that was good. And I really liked the main character of Jamie. Jamie was a really great main character. He was super adorable and very sweet. Well, that's the positives. There are a lot more negatives though, and I'm probably going to get a little bit ranty on these. So first off, I want to just say that I am not a Muslim. I am not in any way identifying with the main character of Maya. But upon reading this book, like I said, I was excited for the religious elements of this book, and I felt it was lacking, and I couldn't put my finger on what felt off about it. It just didn't feel natural or realistic. I don't know, it just felt like, hello, I am Muslim, let's talk about Ramadan and Eid, textbook answer. But it doesn't actually come into my life at all, but let's just drop in snippets of what my religion is. And it just didn't feel solid, it didn't feel like a real person. And upon reading reviews from Muslim readers after I finished the book, that definitely seems to be a theme that I ran through a lot of those reviews. So I will link some of those below because they will articulated 10 times better than I ever will. But essentially, these Muslim readers didn't feel like this Muslim character represented them very well, and I can understand why that is. It felt a bit textbook and a bit clinical. There are a lot of issues that these Muslim readers had that I was like, yes, that's exactly why I felt it was off and weird, but in a way that I couldn't have picked up on because I didn't know why, because I'm not a Muslim or anything. Those reviews will be down in the description. We will circle back to the religious element in a moment, but the biggest thing that really annoyed me about this book was Maya. Everything about Maya was annoying and I really dislike her character. I don't understand her decisions. I found her quite an entitled, whiny, selfish, and really immature. So there are 3 fights in the book that I want to draw attention to. So there are going to be some mild spoilers here. There's 3 fights that Maya has with separate characters in the book, and all of these are running on the same theme of Maya being an entitled little little bitch. I don't know how else to say it politely. Every time she had an argument with someone, I was always on the other person's side, yet they always had to apologise to Princess Maya. So first of all, she has an argument with her best friend. This is supposed to be their last summer together. Her best friend's about to go to university, life's about to drastically change for the two of them, and this was supposed to be their last summer together. But of course, life gets in the way. Her friend is putting in a lot of shifts and a lot of work hours to save up money to try and go to university. She's also prepping for university, so she's getting furniture and sorting out her dorm room. Just generally, she's being extremely busy over the summer, and Maya's butthurt that she doesn't have her best friend all to herself. And instead of communicating that to her best friend or telling her best friend about the issues she's struggling with in her life, i.e. the divorce her parents are going through, I'll talk about again that in a moment. Instead of talking to her best friend about any of this, she bottles it all up, doesn't tell her best friend any of the details, and then gets more and more resentful at her best friend for not hanging out with her. The fight they have is a train wreck. She basically gets so angry at her best friend for working and for having other friends. There is a picture on Instagram of her hanging out with her new roommate after they went and got some furniture, and Maya is so angry and betrayed. Oh, the betrayal! Her best friend has, you know, other friends in her life and other people, and that Maya doesn't have her solely to herself, and that, oh my god, her best friend has to actually work to afford university instead of hanging out with her. How dare she? Maya, some people don't have money like you, and some people have to work for their education and their living and their careers, and I know you get given everything on a silver fucking platter, but your best friend does not, and you don't get to bottle up all of your feelings and all of your resentment towards her for no reason and then completely lash out at her and tell her she's a horrible friend and emotionally manipulate her by telling her, oh, but my parents are getting divorced and you didn't even know. Because you didn't tell her, Maya. I'm sorry. I was solely in the friend's camp here. The friend was not in the wrong in any way. Maya was just being entitled and selfish, and I just don't like Maya very much. And it was very annoying because Maya is the hero of the book. She's the main character, and everyone has to grovel to Maya and apologise to Maya, and I'm like, no. This book would have been really interesting if at the end of all this, Maya would have turned around and been like, oh, I've been selfish, I've been entitled, I've been immature, I'm sorry. And if she'd have kind of learned something about herself, that she is, and that she's been behaving in a way that is emotionally manipulating the people around her, that would have been a really interesting character arc. But no, everyone apologises to Maya because Maya's the little queen, and I just don't like the way everyone orbits around Maya as if she's perfect. I don't get it. That was one fight with her best friend. Another fight with her parents. Her parents are getting divorced. And of course this is all about Maya and how it affects Maya. Maya cannot even comprehend for a moment that her parents are unhappy and that maybe this separation is what they want and what's best for them and what's going to make them happy. Maya doesn't even, nope, doesn't cross her mind. Maya's sole concern is, oh, but we're not going to be a family anymore and it's interrupting my life. And she's so rude and mean to her parents and forcing them to rush. When's the separation? Give me a time. And she's trying to force her parents into making a decision about their separation and get them back together. It's just weird. Like, Maya, this is not about you. This is about your parents. If they don't love each other anymore and they're not happy, it's not about you. Divorce is different for everybody, and I can't say how divorce is going to affect every child. My parents got divorced when I was 7 years old, and I'm not really caught up about it. I'm not really bothered. It doesn't affect me. My parents hate each other. Awkward. There's a lot of things that come with that, but it's never really been a huge emotional stress or event in my life, to be honest. My parents, if they don't want to be together, that's fine. It makes everyone happier that way. However, just because that's how I've felt and my experience, that doesn't mean everyone have that same experience or going to feel that same way. So Maya has the right to be sad and upset, but she doesn't have the right to lord it over people. There is a difference. And then we have the fight with Jamie, the other MC. Basically, a picture of them gets leaked where it looks like they're in a compromising position. And by compromising, I just mean like it looks like they're kissing when they weren't, and it's very awkward, and it's a huge invasion of their privacy that this picture was not only taken but then uploaded. Both of them are extremely uncomfortable and angry, rightly so, by this betrayal and this huge invasion of their privacy. Maya flips it and goes off on Jamie about it, even though he wasn't the one who took the picture, he wasn't the one who uploaded the picture, and he's also a victim in this picture. She gets so angry at Jamie and again lords it all over him, lords over the feelings. She uses the whole, oh, I'm a Muslim woman on the internet, it's far worse. And yeah, she's right about that. It is going to be worse for her, but he is also a victim in this, and she blames him, and I don't get why, because it's not his fault. She's just so emotionally manipulative. She completely puts Jamie in this horrible position and he's going through it and she's just so immature and rude, and she forces other people to literally beg for her forgiveness in cases, and it just doesn't sit well with me. But it happens and everyone does grovel to her. The best friend forgives her, the parents do whatever she wants. When she has that fight with her best friend, Jamie tells her, oh, it's just because like you're really mature and other people just aren't. And Maya's like, yeah, you're right, I'm just too mature. I'm like, what? Who? Why is everyone making you feel better, Maya? You're in the wrong. Long story short, Maya's annoying. I don't like how manipulative she is and how blissfully unaware she is that she's so entitled she can't even see it. She's very selfish, and it irked me through the book. And like I said at the end, if she'd have had this epiphany that this is a flaw of hers and this is something she needs to work on, that would have been such a great character arc. That would have been amazing for a main character to see this flaw in themselves and to try and improve it. That would have been amazing. But of course that's not what happens, so that was just very frustrating to read about. Maya is the golden girl that can do no wrong and she never learns anything. She has a huge communication issue. She doesn't ever talk to people. She bottles up all these emotions and then blows and just completely explodes out of nowhere at people and uses these emotions to manipulate. I wasn't comfortable with it. Maya also has this issue of changing her mind at the drop of a hat, and I think this is why she probably annoyed the Muslim readers and why she annoyed me, because she changes her mind like that. She is a Muslim, self-proud of this. She is a self-choosing Muslim, not forced into anything. She chooses to be a Muslim and she's very proud of that fact, and that's great. When she has this spiritual dilemma about liking this boy, but she's not supposed to casually date, she's supposed to save herself, so whoever she does date is going to have to end up as endgame. So dating is complicated for Maya, or that's how she puts it. But Maya's supposed to be this self-choosing Muslim, and then all of a sudden she turns around and is like, I can't date you, Jamie, it's because of my parents. It's like, what? I thought it was because of your religious beliefs. Why are you putting this on your parents? You're making this out as some tragic star-crossed Romeo and Juliet shit. That's not what this is. I thought you chose to be a Muslim and have these beliefs, not your parents, so why are you blaming it on that? And then she turns around and was like, I'm going to throw my entire religion away, Jamie, for this white boy saviour. Thank you for saving me from whatever. And I'm like, no, why does she have to give up her entire religious belief system for this boy she likes? No, she can like this boy and still adhere to her beliefs. She can make it work, but she doesn't. She just throws it all away, basically, and it's weird. Like, how can you be such a devoted Muslim and then just bin it? I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why Muslims were annoyed. Why just changes her mind like that? Blames it on other people. She zigs when she thinks she's gonna zag. She doesn't tell people any of the important things she needs to tell them and gets annoyed at them for it. And then there's the I love you moment. So near the end of the book, this book is a slow burn, by the way. The whole romance is extremely slow, and they get to the end and they only just get together, and then the ending is extremely rushed and there's no real closure at the end, and the whole thing feels very abrupt and tied up very quickly at the end, which was another problem I had with this book. But Maya's mad at Jamie for this, that and the other that isn't his fault, and she's put him in the proverbial doghouse. And then one day she's out doing something really random and suddenly the adrenaline rushes through her and she just knows, I love him. And this moment in the book actually made me laugh. Like, I laughed because it came so far out of left field. Like, it came out of nowhere. And I'm like, what? I get it, this is a slow burn, so there has been like romantic development between these characters, but she just drops a huge I love you bomb out of nowhere. Whereas in a chapter before, she was like, I cannot be with you. It goes against my religion. All these things you've done wrong and that are your fault, that aren't your fault, but I'm saying are your fault. I'm like, what? How do we go from A to B? How do we get here? How did this happen? So abrupt. And I did not expect this random I love you to come out. I'm gonna have to go to him because I love him. There is teenagers and then there's Maya. Like, what is this? I get it. Love is impulsive and whatever, but it was funny. It was funny. Don't think that was the vibe we were going for. There were many other pettier issues I have with the book, like the dialogue trying to feel very down with the kids. And like, do teenagers talk like this? I mean, maybe. I'm definitely not one anymore. It's been a while. It felt very, like it was trying very, very hard to sound young and hip. And I'm just not sure. Anyway, to sum it all up, I think the book had good intentions and it was a fun, easy read. It had a lot of good intentions and elements that it tried to bring to the table. In politics, it had the representation of religions and ethnic groups and gays, and it had a lot of good things in it. But then there's Maya, the main character, who her personality stinks, and it kind of ruined the book for me. Also, I didn't talk about the politics very much. It was very in your face. It was very, you are left or you are evil, which extreme. I mean, I am a leftist. I extremely believe in a lot of the ideals that the main characters did. There was the, you know, Democrats and Republicans. I can't remember which one's which in America. I don't keep up with y'all's politics. It's a dumpster fire that I don't want to touch. But they were talking about political standings, and you are either on their side or you are a Koopa Trooper, because life is a fucking video game apparently, and we are all children, and everything's that simple. You're either good or evil. Yeah, I don't know, it just felt very juvenile. Fun story, had too many issues that I just couldn't quite get over for it to be a good book for me. So I'm gonna leave that one there. I know I've been talking about it for ages, but I had so much to get off my chest for that one. I also wrote up a written review of that, so you can go and read that, which probably articulates it better than I just did, because my written word is often better than my spoken word, and I have a YouTube channel. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.